Hey everyone, this is David Strong by Lee, personal trainer, registered dietitian in New York. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to spend the next couple of minutes talking to you about motivation. It might actually be a lot longer than a couple of minutes because motivation can be a hairy, dangerous topic. Dangerous because a lot of people have failed by relying on motivation. A lot of people have succeeded by relying on motivation, but I think the people who have succeeded have used a different definition of motivation compared to the ones who have failed. And I want to talk to you about my perspectives on motivation based on my research, based on my experience as a personal trainer and registered dietitian whose responsibility is to motivate his clients. If you've listened to any of my previous content, you probably know I'm not a huge fan of motivation, precisely because I've seen motivation fail for a lot of people. There are a couple of reasons why I'm not a fan of motivation, and I think a lot of people can relate to me on this because when I have conversations with my clients, they tend to consent on my reasonings. One, motivation is just too unpredictable. You can feel great one day and lousy the next. Number two, it can be affected by your emotions and your moods. If you're female and you're still experiencing your menstrual cycles, you probably know what I'm talking about. Even though you know it's coming, the motivation levels will dip because of your menstrual cycle. Your hormonal levels will fluctuate, and therefore your moods and your emotions will not be what they normally would be if you weren't having your womanly period. Number three, affected by external factors. I had to say external because your hormones can be an internal thing, right? External factors, your bosses, the weather. When's the last time we lost motivation? When's the last time our motivation levels dipped because the weather was crappy? In the wintertime when it's cold, dark, and damp at 6 in the morning, we don't want to wake up to go to the gym. We would rather stay underneath the covers where it's warm and cozy. We had a lousy day with our boss the night before, and as a result, we had a fight with our spouse. Our sleep suffered, and then we wake up the next morning feeling lousy also. Motivation levels are gone, willpower is gone, discipline is gone, our ability to say no to temptation is gone, our willingness to succumb to poor habits, there. This is why motivation can be so dangerous, because a lot of people rely on external factors for motivation. And even the most intelligent people I've worked with know this. They intuitively know I shouldn't be relying on these things. I know this is not going to help me in the long run, but I just can't help it. I need it right now. My motivation levels suck, but there's nothing I can do because life just sucks right now. And I'm sure a lot of people are probably going through this in light of what's going on right now. Global pandemic, many people are stuck indoors, working from home, working remotely, doing everything from home, eating, sleeping, drinking, pooping, working out from home, involuntarily. I think that is the key, involuntarily. Now, when it's our decision to do things that would seemingly be a torturous endeavor in other situations, we don't feel so bad about it if it's our decision. But if this isn't our decision, these are mandated, and there's a virus going on. We don't really know what's going on here. What we do know is our motivation levels are at rock bottom for a lot of people, and we need to figure out how to recover our mojo. And I think the start of recovering our mojo is not relying on motivation and trying to get to the core reason why we want to achieve a specific thing. And this is what I want to get to. We're not really going to talk about methods and strategies. I want to go through the rationale behind motivation because I've never really sat down and talked about motivation as it presents itself to me while I'm doing a segment. I've written about it, but I've never really spoken about it. We're not going to go into methods or strategies because I think in the shadows of our perception of motivation, those things just fall away. If we have the wrong idea, wrong approach to motivation, no strategy will work. No strategy is going to be worth its salt long term. Something might work short term. Look at the cleanses and the detoxes. Look at monetary incentives. Look at fear. Those will all motivate us to do a certain thing. But how long can they keep us motivated? And if if that's the case, is it really motivation they're improving? I would argue no. It's not really motivation the way research looks at motivation. And the way research looks at motivation is the sustainable, empowering motivation we want to be able to manage. Improving is a dicey word because in my experience, having worked with many people who are fit, semi-fit, not very fit, completely out of shape, once somebody loses their motivation, it's really difficult to get it back to where it used to be. Especially if at some point during someone's fitness journey, they were at a real high point, life hits them, lots of responsibilities, and now they're no longer at that high point. Motivation is really difficult to get back. Now you can also make the argument that people who tend to fall and have a difficult time recovering didn't have the right motivations. But you could also make the argument that even if they did have the right motivations, the logistics are not there. The planets and the stars are not aligning perfectly so that they can get back on the horse, on the wagon. If that's the case, even if that's the case, it's not necessarily a lack of time that many people are suffering from. It could be a lack of energy to find the time. Mental energy, motivation, willpower, those are depletable resources. You can burn through motivation in one day. And what's really scary is just because you go to sleep doesn't necessarily mean your motivation levels will recover. It's not a 24-hour thing. You go to a gas station and you fill it up and all of a sudden you're motivated again. I don't think it works like that. I think motivation is one of those things that is quick to get depleted but difficult to replenish because you have to think about the reasons that deplete your motivation. As a father of two, trying to manage my business, a husband, an owner of 2 dogs, I have to be very careful with managing my mental energy. My time is one thing, my mental energy is another, because if I get burnt out, I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay in the fetal position in the bathtub because my day was so difficult. I don't even know where 12 hours went. They just flew out the window and I felt completely unproductive because I was spending so much time just running around putting out fires. And I think a lot of people are in this position. And if one of my clients is listening to this, she probably can understand that too. Running around, putting out fires is very stressful, very exhausting, and it kills your willpower. It kills your motivation. And no matter how hard you try, it's so difficult to make up. What do? You do the things that pose least resistance: convenience, safety, comfort. And what happens then? You don't really want to work out. You don't really want to eat healthy. You want to turn towards comfort foods. You want to watch Netflix and you want to relax. You want to go get a massage. While that's great and all, that's not going to help you get into shape. Help you feel better about yourself, but it's not going to help you lose fat. It's not going to help you build muscle. Those are the things that people will tend to turn to when things get tough and when their motivation levels are running low. So motivation, I think, is less about being influenced by external factors, the celebrity, the money. I know several programs that promise a monetary payout if you make the best transformation. I don't know how many people participate in the best transformation. There's a buy-in, best transformation as voted by the coach. I don't know if he has any biases. And you get a nice hefty payout. Despite the prospect of a payout, people are still falling flat on their face and losing motivation, which goes to show you that monetary incentives don't always work either. These people have all the reasons in the world to succeed. Many of the people who enter these challenges are already fit. They already look great. They know how to eat. They don't need a meal plan. They got access to a gym. none of these people are obese or severely overweight or have no history of exercise, unlike a lot of my clients who are minimally fit or have minimal experience with exercise. So they are probably really confident about this challenge coming in. They are confident in their abilities and their knowledge to execute, so they do. And they start looking good until they don't, until motivation takes a hit. They complain about how they're losing motivation, how they can't wake up and find their steam, find their mojo. And if these people who have been going to the gym for years, every single day, have a difficult time getting motivated, then is it any surprise somebody who just wants to lose a little bit of weight and feel a little bit better would find it difficult to find motivation? Which brings me to my most salient and important part. The late German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "A man with any why can bear any how." I'm going to add woman, right? Because we want to be equal opportunity. Or any person. Any person with a why can bear any how. The why is your core reason as to why you want to achieve a certain thing. And the how can be the challenges that you're pitted up against, the realities, the banalities of life, your life responsibilities that are tugging at your mental energy and your reserves, your ability to contend and fight with the things that threaten your existence and your ability to execute on the behaviors that are going to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Those are the hows. If you have a strong enough why, it's not guaranteed you're going to succeed, but the likelihood, the chance that you are going to succeed much higher, because you can always turn to a really strong mission. Think about any company you work for. I think most companies who have a really strong mission, core values, a vision, tend to achieve their goals than a company who just flies by the seat of their pants. Their employees aren't bought in. Their employees have no idea what they're doing. They have no system. So I think in a way, business, the way a company is ran, is very similar to how you would run and conduct yourself on a health and fitness journey. You need to have a core reason. You need to have a mission, a vision for yourself, and only you know that. The reason this is so difficult is, I mentioned it earlier and I'll mention it again because I think it's really important, is that when you have responsibilities, other responsibilities in a time frame that's very limited, like 24 hours. 24 hours isn't a very long time, and in fact, most of that, some of that 24 hours, you're not even awake. You're sleeping. You're subconscious. So what do you have? 16 hours to get done what you need to get done. Maybe 8 hours of that is work, and then if you have a side hustle that you're really passionate about, you might have 4, 5, 6 hours to devote towards that if you don't have other responsibilities. But what if you have a full-time job? You have 2 kids, you have a side hustle, and you have dogs. You have other things that are wrestling for your attention, vying for your attention, versus a college student whose parents are paying for your education. You don't have to work. You wake up, you go to the chow hall to eat, you go to the gym, then you go to lunch, then you go to a couple classes, then you go to the gym again. Who do you think is going to have more, you're going to see my air quotes here, motivation to get in shape? You can make the argument the college student isn't really even motivated. They're just bored and they're trying to kill time. Does that mean they're motivated? Not really, because there are probably a lot of college kids, and I've met them before, who get in shape because they're bored, not because they actually want to get in shape. Their friends do it. They just want to look good. I think looking good, wanting to look good, is not a strong enough motivation, because what I then notice is these college kids come home for break and they don't go to the gym. They don't work out anymore because they're out of their element. They're out of their environments. Motivation doesn't carry them. It's so superficial, which is why your core reason has to be deeply personal. It has to be able to help you weather the storm. You're in this paddle boat out in the middle of the ocean, and you have to be able to storm those waves. You can't capsize. So what is your main reason going to be? It kind of goes back to that adhesion. How badly do you want it? You have to want it. Art Williams once said, "I never said it's going to be easy. I said it's going to be worth achieving." I said it's going to be worth it. So I think a lot of times, if something is difficult and you're really trying hard, it's probably worth it. Because I think there are always going to be compromises involved. And I think the reward is often related to the effort. If you put in the effort, and it's a hard effort, and you're fighting for it, the reward, especially if you have a good perspective about it, can be worthwhile. So that's my perspective on motivation. I hope it was important. I really hope I hope you can kind of get your head around this idea that we shouldn't rely on motivation. We should rely on something that's a little bit deeper within us, something that pulls at our heartstring. If you don't know what it is, try sitting in front of a piece of paper and write down, very simply, why you want to achieve what you want to achieve. And when it comes to health, try to make it more than just, I just want to lose weight. Well, why do you want to lose weight? And if you have trouble coming up with anything, just keep asking yourself why for everything. Because why is the only question that doesn't have a true answer. Why do you want to lose weight? Well, I don't know. I want to get leaner. Okay, well, why do you want to get leaner? I want to fit into smaller clothes. Why do you want to fit into smaller clothes? I want to get ready for beach season. Okay, why do you want to get ready for beach season? You're married with kids. Why do you want to look good for beach season? Well, because I don't want my fat to hang over my bikini. All right. Again, why isn't it okay for your fat to hang over your bikini? I know that sounds like an obvious question. Because I feel like shit when I look like shit. Okay, I think we're getting a little bit closer, right? You feel like crap, excuse my language, you feel like crap when you look like crap. And why is that important to you? It's like, well, I don't want to feel like crap, because when I feel like crap, I feel like, okay, I'm not myself. I don't have any self-confidence, and I'm sure it affects my productivity and how I appear to other people. Okay, maybe one more why is going to help us get to the core answer. And why is that important? Self-efficacy and independence. Okay, self-efficacy and independence. I think really when it comes to general fitness, when it comes to people who want to look, move, and feel better, self-efficacy, independence, resilience, control over their lives are some really good core reasons. Are those your core reasons? What are your core reasons? I hope this was helpful. In a different segment, perhaps we'll talk about some methods, strategies to help you manage your motivation. Again, I'm not a big guy on hacks, strategies, tips, tricks. I am really big on rationale. I'm really big on analyzing our behaviors and trying to justify why we should do them or why we shouldn't do them using research and using practical application. So this is David of Strong by Lee. I hope this was helpful. Please shoot any questions, comments, or concerns to me, david@strongbylee.com. I really thank you for listening to this. I know it was a bit long, probably one of my longer podcasts, but I promise I'm trying to keep every single podcast, no matter what topic I talk about, under 20 minutes or every single episode. And if I need to talk a little bit more about a particular topic, we'll make another episode. But I know a lot of people find it really difficult to make their way through somewhat complicated topics such as motivation, because I think many people think motivation is just so straightforward and simple. They take it for granted, but I think it's anything but, because there is a breadth of research showing how different motivation is in the lab versus in real life. This is David of Strong by Lee signing out. I will see and talk to you next time. Until then, be motivated and be strong. Talk to you soon. Thanks again.